Hello friends and welcome to another episode of Whose Fault Is It Anyways. Today we're going to take a look at a Crusader carry player and we're going to cover a very misunderstood idea in this game where carry players feel like, I think I got my farm, I think I did what I need to do, but I'm not winning. What's going wrong? Here's an idea for you guys. Farming is not contributing. Farming is not contributing. That sounds crazy, right? My job is to get money and carry the game, so how can that not be contributing to the team? I mean, it is, right? I'm kind of exaggerating to make a point, but it's like the baseline of what you're supposed to do. Like, yes, you are supposed to farm. And, like, what else are you going to do to really deserve to win the game? That is your baseline, and you need to look for more things to do besides that. A very quick and rough way to see if you're doing this is to take a look at the net worth graph, and we're looking at Juggernaut here. And around 10 minutes, right at the end of laning stage, he's at the top, not bad. Faceless Void not really that far behind, and as we go throughout the rest of the game, you'll notice that, yeah, it sometimes moves up and down a little bit. It goes to like a few thousand at most, but most of the time the carries are quite next to each other, and that's because you're doing your job, farming your stuff, and he's doing his job, farming his stuff, and so no one's actually taking a lead, and that's why you reach the end of the game, you're like, I'm farmed, but I didn't win. It's because there's no difference between you and the enemy carry, and that's what you need to look to do. Before we get into the core lesson, I would like to point out that you are a little bit ult happy on this Juggernaut. There are times you really should just walk in and attack, maybe spin, and then if they're not dead or they're getting away from you, you use your ultimate, which has a bit of a cast range and keeps you on the target bouncing on top of them, and when it ends, if they're still alive, you can then continue to attack and chase them down to finish off the kill. Sometimes it'll work out, sometimes not. And sometimes you do start with your ult. I know, it's complicated. And it's not just Juggernaut. Every carry has to think about this. You only want to use what you have to use, because then you'll save resources, both mana, the cooldowns, and that means you can do more with it because you still have the ability. You can play aggressive, someone gets you, and you can kill them. Here, you see Axe has the bonus armor from Call, you're next to a hard camp, and you start with the ult, when really he was trapped by the bramble mazes, and you could have just attacked, and then maybe you have to ult the Hoodwink because he's running away. That could be fine. It worked out here, you know, it sounds like I'm nitpicking, but I promise there are times where it will matter and you won't get kills because you're using the skills suboptimally. Now, that aside, you did just pick up some kills. Faceless Void died top. I see Kunkka and Shadow Shaman up there. Now would be a great time to start doing what we talked about. We want to push aggressively, take the enemy's farm. We want to, push up with this huge creep wave. We want to take this tower. Maybe you can't take it. Maybe they respawn, teleport in. You chipped it down. That's great. If you don't want to do that because you're just trying to hit some certain item timing, totally fine. Hey, here's a hard camp. This hard camp can be farmed by the off lane or the safe lane. So it's a little dicey on who gets it, but when they're dead, that is my camp. So you can come over here, you farm this, you are still fulfilling your primary objective. I'm farming, yes, but now we're doing more. We are taking farm away from the enemy team. Or we can run all the way back to this medium camp because it's worth less than the hard camp. We don't even have a quelling blade to cut the trees to get there faster. And because you did this and you didn't farm the camp, guess what? Axe, he pushed up after respawning. He's scared. Hey, where is everyone? I guess I'll farm this hard camp. So now you got less gold actually. Let's pretend they were equivalent camps. They're not. Even if you're getting the exact same gold Axe is, why is Axe getting gold? He shouldn't have gotten gold. You could have chosen to farm this. You would still get your gold. Axe gets no gold. He's going some whack build. Eternal Shroud first. Not getting Vanguard, Blade Mail, Blink, the Axe usuals. But 100 gold towards those relatively cheap items, that is a big shift for your team where Axe becomes much more difficult to kill because of Vanguard versus a Wind Ranger or your ultimate, or Blade Mail where he can call and kill people, Blink to actually initiate, surprise people, and it would pierce your stun, right? These are all dangerous items to give Axe, and you just let him have 100 more gold from farming this hard camp, the experience with it. You just let him have that to hit his timings faster. Quick tip, by the way, when building a Maelstrom, Javelin compared to Mithril Hammer has a very similar damage to cost ratio, and Javelin is cheaper, so you can buy it sooner and start getting the benefit of that damage to farm faster and get your Mithril Hammer faster. Bonus tip, the Javelin is magical damage when it procs, and most creeps and enemy heroes have less magic resistance than armor at this stage of the game, so you'll actually do more damage with it compared to the Mithril Hammer in many cases. Bonus tip for Juggernaut, when using Blade Fury, you can attack the unit you are spinning on top of, but they will not take any attack damage if they are affected by the spin. However, on-hit effects can can still take place, such as the javelins. So when farming a camp, you can spin on top of it, or if you feel you can attack an enemy hero you're spinning on top of, there's a chance you will proc the javelin, getting some extra damage that the mithril hammer cannot contribute. This fight here is kind of messy, but it's gonna work out. There's 4 of you here. You're killing Axe. You got a bunch of creeps right by the tower. So now would be a great time to move as a group. This Shadow Shaman, believe it or not, he can't fight off 4 heroes on his own, or you guys will kill him, and that's pretty good too. So the 4 of you can come over here, and you can take this tower. Maybe you don't take it, you whittle it down, that is still good, we'll take it later. Supports, other heroes, if you don't want to be part of this, or it's already low and you know it'll fall without you, now's a good time to move into here. It's usually pretty dangerous to just do that in the middle of nothing, but you just want to fight right here. You've got teammates nearby, supports, and sometimes carries. If you want to farm here, you can run up here, you can farm it, you can place the deep wards so that later you know it is safe. This is an opportunity to take more after winning this fight. Or we can all run backwards and let Shadow Shaman solo defend that tower, and we can farm this hard camp and share the XP with 4 other heroes while Wind Ranger gets killed in the mid lane. Gotta kill this small camp. Ooh, small camp. Got it. There sure are a lot of enemy heroes down here. Better be careful because Axe Call could pierce spin and set up some chain stuns to get me killed. Oh, actually, there's Axe Call. I'm safe to go up because I have spin. Actually, they're using all their stuns. I can just walk up and attack now. Spin, why not? Hit multiple heroes. Tree line, that's cool too. Axe getting pretty low. Maybe I could just attack him to kill him. I could ult point blank as well. You know what? I'm pretty fast and pretty strong here, Solar Crest. I'm going to chase Hoodwink for another kill. I quite like this, actually. And in fact, here's where you could kill her with your ultimate. If you had one! You know what? We miss out on an extra kill, but at least we killed Axe. We have a big creep wave here. We have 2 heroes here. We got Bloodlust, Healing Ward. We can move up here now because Axe is dead, and his presence was really preventing us from farming this small camp. But I got it now. Hello? Is there anyone on my team with attack damage and attack speed who's pretty strong right now who could hit this tower to help take it before the enemies respawn and defend it, allowing our team to get gold and open up the map to play this area and prevent the enemies from doing so safely? Hehehe, mud golems. Choosing when to farm versus when to fight is the hardest part about playing carry. So if you're struggling with it, it is totally normal. It is very difficult to do. And that's kind of what was happening in this game. You said, you know, team picking fights. Should you be there? Should they not be doing that? Now you got people flaming. You know, I don't know what to do. So I recommend when you reach that situation when people are starting to yell that like, oh, my carry's not doing anything, have you ever tried just feeding? Not griefing feeding, but genuinely trying to play very aggressive, joining more than you think you should, and you will sometimes get punished for that when you do it too far and then you get killed. And then I recommend you type, sorry guys, my bad, into the team chat so that they don't flame you and report you, and they think you're a nice guy because you're saying sorry. That's great. You know, you need to learn your limits as a carry player, and actually any Dota player really, right? You have to learn how much you can get away with. And if you always default to defensive, passive play, farm my half of the map kind of play, you never know, I could have pushed this lane. I could have taken that tower. I could have dove that tower and killed that guy and gotten out safely. You have to look a little foolish sometimes, going way too ham. You end up feeding, but it's all part of the learning process. Please do not complain when you get reported and you're like, Zach led me astray, now my behavior score is in the crap. I don't know, guys. I know it's a fine line, but there are cases where you got to push it. Like, for example, you came here and then ran all the way mid. This is not the worst place to go, at least, but many of your teammates could teleport here if they survive this fight, and they could push this out. You are the only one in position to push up to here into the enemy's half of the map. You are spending a lot of time on your own half of the map, so you're never stealing camps from the enemy team. You're never pushing the creep wave all the way into the tower, chipping that tower, then falling back into the camps up here, farming this stuff. You are not playing aggressive as a Juggernaut, who's one of the best heroes at doing this because you have spin and your ultimate. I know this game is a little hard. There are multiple heroes who have ways to deal with that, but other games, there aren't the debuff, immunity, piercing abilities, and you really need to push the limits and steal the farm from the enemies because that's what actually builds the difference. You see, for all the farming you're doing, he's right there. He's right behind you. You haven't really done all that much to prevent him from doing what he wants to do. And if you choose not to join a fight, that is okay, especially if you are positioned in a place that allows you to push the tower. That's why, for example, I was saying like, oh, we push out top, but you know what? You're in the mid lane and the mid tower's still up at 21 minutes. So now is a great opportunity because that fight's all going over here. We saw big abilities getting used. We know it's very safe to run up here and just grab this tower. It is pretty low, it's pretty safe to do, and it's going to be good for your team. It's going to open up the map. Or we could come chasing this full health Faceless Void with a shield rune into his half of the map, running all the way from here to down here. We're going to go look for that Faceless Void who has Time Walk, who is 1 level ahead of us. I know you can't see the net worths, but you can see his items. You know it's close. We can leave that lane, that farm, that tower, and we can come find this guy. Now, how likely do we think we are to kill him? So are we not just wasting our time running across the map for a difficult kill when there's a very guaranteed creep wave plus tower right here, and then they're still dead? You can run in here, you can farm these camps. When they respawn and teleport out here, they run over here. Hey, there's no farm, it's gone, where is it? You have farmed and you have taken farm away from the enemy team. You're actually building a difference and not dead even with... Sometimes it does work. But I promise, guys, you shouldn't really go for this kind of stuff too much, even though it may work out sometimes. This was a very guaranteed thing. The creep wave and the tower, like 95% of games, this will work out. This was like, I don't know, let's be generous. Let's say 20% chance it worked out. It's not really worth it to run down here. I mean, maybe depending on your bracket, you feel it is, but at some point you will reach, better players who have reaction times, and they will use their abilities to get out of this stuff and not die full health with a shield rune. So I don't really recommend like planning to do this kind of stuff, but you know what, we killed him and we'll just capitalize on it. We'll go from there because pub games do get wacky. You get kills that you're not supposed to, and so now let's make the most use of it. He is dead for 50 seconds. Shadow Shaman's dead, about to respawn. Let's take a quick look at the mini-map, look at the time. So I see Axe top, I see Hoodwink mid. That means his bottom lane should be relatively safe. Should just be Kunkka down here, and then maybe the Shadow Shaman. They were just dead, so for them to be here already, they both probably teleported. So how about pushing in this bottom lane? There's a lot of creeps here, great farm for us, and then we can take this ancient camp, we can take their triangle, we have a catapult wave here, so actually we feel up to it. Maybe we even chip this tier 2 tower. Let's pretend they weren't showing on the map and you feel a little scared that they're coming to kill you in retaliation to killing their Faceless Void, right? Hey, you finished this Manta style, so how about we pop this Manta, send those illusions in to push down this lane. While they are dead, while you have the opportunity to do so, we want to get gold, we want to farm, but we also want to do as much as possible. So getting map control by pushing in lanes, that's something we can do while no one's here to stop us, and possibly stealing enemy farm as well. And if you come up here, maybe your supports feel comfortable to come up here and place a deep ward and D-ward, stuff like that, so we get even more map control from there. Or, how about this? Let's think this through. How about a journey across our half of the map, a farming journey with Vengeful Spirit, our best buddy here. Let's walk together across the entire half of our own map, an area that is relatively safe even when the whole enemy team is alive. Let's split farm and XP with Venge to farm all the jungle camps that my other teammates could have farmed when they're feeling scared, and I'm a strong hero who has a safe way to get out. I could have done aggressive farm. No, I won't. Let's journey across the world. The farthest creep camp from anything. God forbid I ever see an enemy hero or an enemy objective. I love this ancient camp. Hello, ancient camp. You farm this when you need to, but this is like as far as possible as you can be from anything useful. Here's the other one. This is the other camp. Far as possible from anything useful. And you chose to come here. This creep wave right here is smarter than everyone on your team. How do I know that? Why is there such a large enemy creep wave pushing into our tier 2 tower? It's going to force someone on your team to rotate down here to your own half of the map where there's no enemy objectives whatsoever. You're going to have to come back here. Were you forced? Was an enemy hero, an enemy player wise enough to help direct these creeps? No, no one came down here. We killed the only guy down here. Nothing helped these creeps, but they came all the way into the enemy half of the map, killing things along the way, and now they're going to try to take an objective. They are playing Dota. And what are we doing? Rock golems are like mud golems, but they're made out of rock. Here's Ame playing Juggernaut, and I want you to notice how he's on the enemy's half of the map, and when enemy heroes come down to get him, he doesn't immediately run away. He goes into the enemy's jungle away from them, so he sees them coming this way. Maybe if he had a ward over here and he saw them coming into this way, he would like run in here, right? He's moving away from the enemy, but continuing to farm. And when they chase all the way down here, they go, I know Juggernaut's down here, let's go find him. They're wasting time just running around, not accomplishing anything. They don't find him, and they go, oh, we should farm. Uh-oh. Juggernaut's farming it, so now they're not going to find any farm here. So they get nothing, Juggernaut got farm, and now he can fall back. He can TP away, he can twin gate, he can do whatever. He is contributing a lot to his team while still farming. And if that's not enough to convince you, there are in fact mud golems on the enemy's half of the map as well. So Ame's going to come push top. Maybe his team's flaming, right? They're saying, hey, come join these fights that you don't want to be in. He knows enough about what he wants to do because he is, pushed his limits before. He knows what he needs. He's going to say, no, I don't want to join that fight. But notice how he walks down here. He is farming this camp. He's doing his, most important thing, baseline. He's not actually contributing yet. But once he sees what the enemy team is doing, if they continue to stay here, he can immediately come into the lane and start pushing it in to take this tower or maybe force some rotations back here. That is contributing. If he only came back here right away, then what can he do? When he sees this happening, but he's all the way back here, he has to run all the way through here. And by the time he gets here, maybe they've already finished this tower and they TP here and then they kill him, right? The timing is very important. And so by moving this way towards the enemy half of the map, he is still farming, but he's ready to contribute as fast as possible. So you see, he does come up here. He keeps the eye on the minimap. Nature's Prophet does come here, but it's not really enough to stop Juggernaut, so he takes a tower. Does he retreat right now? No. No one has forced me back yet. I can keep pushing up here. I'm not scared of this Nature's Prophet. I still have spin. I'm not just using it for no reason. So I'm going to continue to play up here. I'm going to farm this creep wave next. And guess what? If all of this has not sounded good enough yet, rock golems are here too. They're like mud golems, but made out of rock. So you're going to run into here 1 versus 4, but you are powerful. And guess what? You're going to get a double kill. Let's go. Triple kill. Easy peasy for Juggernaut. Time to get out of here. Very understandable. You've used your abilities. Could Manta this, but you're so confident. You know it's not needed. You're not even scared of this. Manta dodge? No need whatsoever. You're just going to stand here and fight, and you're even going to get a kill in Chronosphere. Hilarious. So now, we have just gotten 4 kills on our own. Dark Willow stole that last one, but, we'll let it slide. 4 enemy heroes are dead right now. 4 of them killed by you. How can we maximize this? So let us take a look at that mini-map and see, are there any mud golem camps? Is this small camp calling to me? Are there rock golems? I can't see them. So I think we better run all the way over here to make sure that there aren't any rock golems disturbing the peace in this corner of the map. Or we can push into the mid lane where there are creeps with our other heroes, and we can farm here towards an enemy tier 2 tower and bait out a rotation. But because we have so many heroes here, we kill him and get another kill. And someone else was TPing in that corner, but they can't do anything about it because we already killed that guy? Huh. I dare say that might have felt a little better than killing a mud golem camp. I think a little less than the rock golems, but maybe a little better than the mud golem camp. So carry players, go back and look at your games. How often are you on your own half of the map? How much are you on the enemy's half of the map? Supports, offlaners, mids, a very similar concept applies to you as well because you have to do some farming. Farming is important, but actually building a difference against the enemy team, that is more important. So how often do you come back to farm your own stuff doing nothing, but how many times instead could you have come to their half of the map and taken their farm and actually start to build a difference where you're not both just farming 600 gold, you farm 500 gold, but he only farms 200 gold. That is better for you in many cases than compared to the 600 and 600 split.